Captain Jake Morrison walked slowly across the bridge of his ship. The UES Sentinel was a big military vessel that belonged to the United Earth Space Force. Jake had been its captain for 3 years now. He loved his job, and his crew trusted him completely. The bridge was quiet, except for the soft hum of computers and machines. Through the large front window, Jake could see millions of stars scattered across the black space. They were beautiful and peaceful. His ship was on patrol, duty near the edge of human territory. It was routine work, but Jake knew it was important to keep the border safe. Lisa Grant sat at her station working on the communication systems. She was young, but very good at her job. Lisa had joined the crew just 6 months ago, but she had already proven herself many times. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as she monitored all the radio frequencies. Suddenly, Lisa's screen started flashing with red lights. She looked surprised and called out to the captain. "Captain Morrison, I'm getting something strange here," Lisa said with worry in her voice. "There's a distress signal coming through on the emergency channel." Jake walked over to Lisa's station immediately. The crew members around the bridge also turned to listen. Emergency signals were serious business in space. When someone sent a distress call, it usually meant people were in terrible danger. "What kind of signal is it?" Jake asked as he looked at Lisa's screen. "It's not in English, sir," Lisa replied while adjusting some controls. "Actually, it's not in any human language at all, but our computer translator is trying to figure it out. I can make out some words like help, danger, and something about females." Jake frowned. Non-human distress signals were very rare in this part of space. Most alien species stayed in their own territories. If aliens were calling for help here, something very bad must have happened. "Keep working on that translation," Jake ordered, "and find out exactly where the signal is coming from." Danny Walsh, the chief engineer, was also on the bridge during his shift. He was a tall man with gray hair who had been working on spaceships for 20 years. Danny heard the conversation and came over to help Lisa with the technical parts. "Let me run this through our main computer," Danny said as he connected his tools to Lisa's station. "Maybe I can clean up the signal and make it clearer." While Danny worked, Jake called his first officer, Amy Rodriguez, to the bridge. Amy was smart and tough, and Jake always wanted her opinion before making important decisions. She arrived quickly, as she always did when the captain called. "What's the situation?" Amy asked. "We've got a distress signal from an unknown alien ship," Jake explained. "Lisa is trying to translate it now." Amy nodded and went to her own station to check the ship's sensors. She wanted to know if there were any other vessels in the area. After a few minutes of scanning, her face became serious. "Captain, I'm detecting one damaged ship about 2 million kilometers away," Amy reported. "It's near the Kepler 442 star system. The ship is moving very slowly and appears to be badly hurt. Its power readings are very weak." "Any idea what species it belongs to?" Jake asked. Danny looked up from his work with Lisa. "I think I've got something," he said. "The computer has identified the language. It's Zephyrian." Jake knew about the Zephyrians from his training. They were a peaceful alien race that looked somewhat like humans, but were much more delicate and beautiful. Zephyrian people had special skin that glowed softly and changed colors depending on their emotions. They were known throughout the galaxy for being kind, smart, and completely non-violent. "Zephyrians don't usually travel this far from their home worlds," Amy said with concern. "And they definitely don't travel in damaged ships." Lisa suddenly got excited as more of the translation came through. "Captain, I'm getting more of the message now. They're saying they're under attack. Someone is chasing them. And sir, they specifically mention that they have females on board who are in danger." Jake felt his stomach tighten. He had heard terrible stories about what happened to captured alien females, especially beautiful ones like Zephyrians. There were criminal organizations in space that kidnapped and sold intelligent beings like slaves. The thought made him angry. Are there any other ships in the area? Jake asked Amy. Amy checked her sensors again, this time looking much further out. After a minute, her face went pale. Captain, I'm detecting 3 ships approaching the Zephyrian vessel. They're moving fast, and they have heavy weapons. The computer identifies them as Kraxan ships. Everyone on the bridge became tense when they heard the name Kraxan. The Kraxan Syndicate was one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the galaxy. They were known for attacking peaceful ships and taking prisoners to sell in illegal slave markets. Kraxans were big, strong, and completely without mercy. How long before the Kraxans reached the Zephyrian ship? Jake asked. At their current speed, maybe 30 minutes. Amy calculated quickly. Jake stood quietly for a moment, thinking hard. His ship was fast and well armed, but fighting 3 Kraxan vessels would be very dangerous. Also, they were technically outside human space, which meant they had no official authority to interfere. But Jake had not become a captain by avoiding difficult decisions. Captain, Lisa said softly, I'm getting more of the translation. They're begging for help. They say they have 17 young females on board who will be captured if no one helps them. Jake thought about his own daughter back on Earth. She was about the same age as the aliens who were about to be captured. He imagined how he would feel if she were trapped on a dying ship with criminals approaching. The decision became easy. Navigation, set course for the Zephyrian ship, Jake ordered firmly. Maximum speed. Sir, Amy said carefully, will be. Outnumbered 3-1. Jake looked at his first officer with determination. Amy, we didn't join the Space Force to ignore people in trouble, just because it might be dangerous. Those aliens are calling for help, and we're the only ones who can answer. The crew began preparing the ship for what could become a very dangerous rescue mission. Jake knew he was taking a big risk, but he also knew it was the right thing to do. In 30 minutes, the Sentinel would either save 17 innocent lives or die trying not as the ship changed direction toward the distant distress signal. Jake hoped they would be fast enough to make a difference. The used Sentinel moved through space at its highest speed. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge watching the main screen as they got closer to the alien ship in trouble. The stars seemed to rush past them as the ship's powerful engines pushed them forward. 2 minutes until we reached the target area, called out Pete Collins from his navigation station. Pete was young, but very skilled at flying the ship through dangerous situations. Weapon systems ready, Captain, reported Kevin Hayes from his position at the weapon controls. Kevin had been a fighter pilot before joining the Sentinel crew. His hands were already moving over the controls, preparing the ship's guns and missiles for battle. Lisa Grant looked up from her communication station with worry on her face. Captain, his Zephyrian distress signal is getting weaker. I think their ship is dying. Jake felt time running out. Every second that passed meant the alien ship was closer to complete failure. But he also knew they had to be smart about this rescue. 3 Kraxan ships were heavily armed and dangerous. There, Amy Rodriguez pointed at the main screen. I can see them. On the screen, everyone could see the damaged alien ship. It was beautiful, even though it was badly hurt. The Zephyrian vessel looked like it was made of silver and crystal. Parts of it glowed with soft blue light, but many sections were dark where the ship had been damaged. Pieces of metal and other materials floated around it like a cloud of debris. Much closer to the alien ship were 3 dark, ugly vessels. The Kraxan ships looked like giant metal spiders with long arms reaching out. One of the Kraxan ships was already connecting to the Zephyrian vessel with a boarding tube. "They're trying to board the alien ship," Amy said with alarm. "We need to stop them right now." Jake made his decision quickly. "Open communication channels to the Kraxan ships. Let's try talking first." Lisa worked her controls and nodded. "Channel open, sir." Jake spoke in a strong, clear voice. "Kraxan vessels, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth Ship Sentinel. You are attacking a civilian ship without permission. Stop your boarding. Action immediately and move away from the damaged vessel." The response came fast and was not friendly. A rough, angry voice spoke back in broken English. "Human ship, this is Kraxan Commander Vex. You have no business here. Leave now, or we will destroy you." "The Zephyrian ship sent a distress call," Jake replied firmly. "We are responding to that call. Release the ship and its passengers immediately." Commander Vex laughed in an ugly way. "The soft aliens belong to us now. Their females will bring good money in the slave markets. Go away, humans, before we add your ship to our collection." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. The thought of innocent beings sold as slaves made him furious. But he kept his voice calm and professional. "This is your final warning," Jake said. "Release the Zephyrian ship or face the consequences." The answer came in the form of bright red laser beams fired directly at the Sentinel. The Kraxan ships had opened fire without any more talking. "Shields up," Jake ordered immediately. "Kevin, return fire. Try to disable their weapons, but don't destroy them yet. We need to get close enough to help the aliens." The space around them suddenly became filled with weapon fire. Red Kraxan lasers hit the Sentinel's protective shields, making them glow bright blue. The human ship's more advanced weapons fired back with rapid bursts of energy that lit up the darkness. During the fighting, Dr. Susan Blake called the bridge from the medical bay. "Captain, I'm receiving a direct communication from the alien ship. They're trying to talk to us." "Put it through to the bridge," Jake ordered while watching the battle on his screens. A new voice came through the speakers. It was soft and musical, clearly female, but there was great fear in it. The voice spoke English with a strange but beautiful accent. "Human vessel, this is Commander Lyra Solaris of the transport ship Starlight Dancer. We are grateful that you came to help us. Our ship is failing and we cannot fight back. Please, we beg you to save our people." Jake was amazed that the alien could speak English, but he had no time to think about it. "Commander Solaris, this is Captain Morrison. We're here to help you. Can you tell us how many people are on your ship?" "We carry 17 females, Captain Morrison," Lyra's voice replied with desperation. "We are students and researchers traveling to establish a new science station. The Kraxans have been hunting our people for many months. If they capture us, we will be sold as slaves and never see our families again." The sadness and fear in her voice made everyone on the bridge feel terrible. Jake knew he had to save these innocent people, no matter what the cost. "How much time do you have before your ship fails completely?" Jake asked. "Our life support systems are failing," Lyra answered. "We have perhaps 20 minutes before the air becomes too thin to breathe. Our power systems are also dying. Captain, we are running out of time." Kevin Hayes called out from his weapons station. "Captain, the Kraxans are calling for backup. I'm detecting more ships approaching from the outer system. We're going to have company soon." Amy checked her sensors and confirmed the bad news. 4 more Kraxan ships, Captain. They'll be here in 15 minutes. Jake realized the situation was getting worse very quickly. Soon they would be fighting 7 enemy ships instead of 3. But the alien ship was dying, and 17 innocent lives depended on them. "Pete, bring us closer to the Zephyrian ship," Jake ordered. "Amy, prepare the docking bay for emergency rescue operations. Kevin, keep those Kraxan ships busy But don't let them get too close. Sir, Amy said with concern, if we get close enough to rescue the aliens, we'll be exposed to concentrated enemy fire. The Kraxans will focus all their weapons on us. Jake looked at his crew. He could see determination in their faces, even though they all understood the danger. These were good people who had joined the Space Force to help others. I know it's dangerous, Jake said to everyone on the bridge. But those aliens are counting on us. We're the only ones who can save them. Are you all with me? Every crew member nodded or spoke their agreement. They were ready to risk their lives for strangers they had never met. Greg Turner to bridge, came a voice from the ship's internal communication system. Greg was the chief of security and had already gathered his Marines for the rescue operation. Go ahead, Greg, Jake replied. My team is ready to board the alien ship, if necessary, Captain. We're prepared for heavy resistance from any Kraxans who might already be aboard. Jake felt proud of his crew. They were brave and professional. Exactly the kind of people he wanted serving with him. All right, everyone, Jake announced. Let's go save some lives. The Sentinel moved closer to the dying alien ship, weapons firing constantly to keep the Kraxan attackers away. In a few minutes, they would either succeed in one of the most dangerous rescue missions in space, or they would all die trying. The used Sentinel moved carefully toward the dying Zephyrian ship. Red laser beams from the Kraxan vessels kept hitting their shields, making the whole ship shake with each impact. Captain Jake Morrison held on to his chair as another blast rocked. The bridge, shields at 70% and falling, reported Amy Rodriguez from her station. The attacks were getting stronger as more Kraxan ships arrived to join the fight. Kevin, keep firing at their weapons, Jake ordered. Try to damage their guns so they can't shoot as much. Kevin Hayes worked quickly at his controls, sending bright blue energy beams toward the enemy ships. I've damaged 2 of their main weapons, Captain, but they keep coming. Pete Collins called out from navigation. We're close enough to dock with the alien ship now, sir. But we'll have to stay here for several minutes to get everyone off safely. Jake knew this was the most dangerous part. While they were connected to the Zephyrian vessel, the Sentinel could not move quickly or defend itself properly. They would be like a sitting target for the Kraxan guns. Do it, Jake decided. Greg Turner, are your Marines ready? Ready and waiting, Captain, came Greg's voice from the docking bay. Greg was the ship's security chief and had trained his team for exactly this kind of rescue mission. The Sentinel moved very carefully until it was right next to the damaged alien ship. Through the windows, the crew could see the beautiful but broken vessel up close. Parts of it were still glowing with soft light, but many sections were completely dark. There were big holes in the side where enemy weapons had hit it. Docking. Connection complete, Pete announced. The airlocks are sealed, and we have a good connection. Greg Turner and 6 Marines quickly entered the alien ship through the connecting tunnel. They wore full battle armor and carried powerful weapons in case any Kraxans had already boarded the vessel. Their boots made loud noises on the metal floor as they moved through the damaged corridors. The inside of the Zephyrian ship was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. The walls seemed to glow with their own light, and everything was curved and smooth instead of having sharp corners like human ships. But many areas were damaged, with sparks flying from broken equipment and strange alien smoke filling the air. This way, came a voice from ahead of them. Greg and his team saw a figure moving toward them through the dim light dot. It was Commander Lyra Solaris, and she was the most beautiful being any of the humans had ever seen. She was tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to shine with a soft, golden light. Her hair was long and silver, and her large eyes were the color of deep purple gems. She wore robes that seemed to float around her as she moved. "Thank you for coming," Lyra said to Greg with relief clear in her musical voice. our people are this way. Please hurry. The ship is failing very quickly." Greg and his Marines followed Lyra through the damaged corridors. They could hear the sounds of the space battle continuing outside, with explosions and weapon fire getting louder as more enemy ships joined the fight. They reached a large room where the other Zephyrian females were waiting. Greg was amazed by what he saw. All 17 aliens were young and incredibly beautiful, but they were also clearly terrified. Their skin had changed from golden colors to pale blue, which Lyra quickly explained meant they were very afraid. "My people change color with our emotions," Lyra told Greg as his Marines began organizing the evacuation. "Blue means fear, gold means happiness, and red means anger or danger." The Zephyrian females were dressed in flowing robes, similar to Lyra's, and they moved with a grace that seemed almost like dancing. But despite their obvious fear, they remained calm and followed the Marines' instructions without panic. "We need to move fast," Greg told Lyra. "The enemy ships are getting closer, and our shields are weakening." Just as they started moving toward the exit, the ship shook violently. Sparks flew from the ceiling, and pieces of metal fell around them. The Starlight Dancer was breaking apart faster than anyone had expected. "The structural supports are failing," Lyra said with worry. "This section might collapse soon." Greg made a quick decision. "Marines, each of you help 2 of the aliens. We need to get them to our ship right now." The human soldiers were gentle but firm as they helped the Zephyrian females move through the dangerous corridors. Some of the aliens were injured from the earlier attacks, and Dr. Susan Blake was waiting in the Sentinel's docking bay with medical equipment ready. Back on the bridge, the situation was getting worse. "Captain," Kevin reported, "the Kraxans are concentrating all their fire on us now. They know we're trying to rescue the aliens. How much longer do we need?" Jake asked into his communication device. "Almost done, sir," Greg replied from inside. "The alien ship. Just a few more minutes." "We don't have a few more minutes," Amy said as she checked her instruments. "Shields are down to 40%, and the Kraxan reinforcements will be here soon." Lisa Grant suddenly looked up from her station with alarm. "Captain, I'm getting a new message from the Kraxan commander. He says if we don't give up the aliens, he'll ram his ship into ours." Jake felt cold anger in his chest. The Kraxan commander was willing to destroy both ships rather than let the Zephyrian females escape. It showed just how valuable the aliens were to the slave traders. "Tell Commander Vex that Earth ships don't surrender to criminals," Jake replied firmly. Through the docking tunnel, the evacuation continued. The Marines moved quickly but carefully, making sure not to hurt the delicate aliens. Some of the Zephyrian females were crying, but their tears seemed to glow with soft light, which amazed the humans. Dr. Susan Blake worked efficiently as each alien was brought to her medical station. She was surprised to find that despite looking fragile, the Zephyrians are actually quite strong and healthy. Their bodies seem designed to heal quickly from injuries. "Their biology is fascinating," Dr. Blake reported to the bridge. "They're much more resilient than they appear." "That's good," Jake replied, "because we're all going to need to be tough to get through this." The last group of Zephyrian females was crossing into the Sentinel when disaster struck. A massive explosion shook both ships as a Kraxan missile hit the connection point between the vessels. The docking tunnel was damaged, but still holding. "The connection is breaking apart," Pete reported with alarm. "We need to separate from their ship right now, or we'll both be destroyed." Greg Turner and the last Marine were still on the alien ship with Commander Lyra. "Greg, get out of there now," Jake ordered over the communication system. "Almost there, Captain," Greg replied as he and Lyra ran through the collapsing corridors of the Starlight Dancer. Just as they reached the tunnel entrance, another explosion tore through the alien ship. The beautiful vessel that had carried the Zephyrian females began breaking apart in a shower of glowing debris. Greg grabbed Lyra and pulled her through the tunnel just as the connection began to fail. They tumbled into the Sentinel's docking bay as the tunnel separated and the alien ship drifted away. All personnel accounted for, Greg reported breathlessly. All 17 aliens are safe aboard our ship. Jake felt relief wash over him, but he knew their troubles were far from over. The Kraxan ships were still attacking, and now they were very angry that their valuable prizes had been rescued. Pete, get us away from the debris field, Jake ordered. Kevin, prepare for the fight of our lives. The rescue was complete, but the real battle was just beginning. The battle for the UE Sentinel became more dangerous every minute. 7 Kraxan ships now surrounded the human vessel, firing their weapons constantly. The ship shook and vibrated with each hit as the enemy tried to break through their defenses. Shields down to 20%, Amy Rodriguez reported with worry in her voice. We can't take much more of this punishment. Captain Jake Morrison held onto his chair as another blast rocked the bridge. Through the main screen, he could see the ugly Kraxan vessels moving closer like hungry wolves circling their prey. Captain, Kevin Hayes called out from his weapons station. They're preparing to board us. I can see docking tubes extending from 3 of their ships. Jake knew this was exactly what the enemy wanted. The Kraxans were not trying to destroy the Sentinel anymore. They wanted to capture it and take back the Zephyrian females they had lost. In the slave markets, those beautiful aliens would be worth more money than the human ship itself. All hands, prepare to repel boarders, Jake announced over the ships. Communication system. Security teams to battle stations. Greg Turner and his Marines were already moving through the corridors, setting up defensive positions. They carried heavy weapons and wore thick armor, but Jake knew the Kraxans were bigger and stronger than humans. The fight would be brutal. In the medical bay, Dr. Susan Blake was treating the injured Zephyrian females when Commander Lyra approached her. The alien skin had changed from the pale blue of fear to a determined orange color. Dr. Blake, Lyra said in her musical voice, we cannot simply hide while humans die protecting us. We must help defend your ship. Dr. Blake looked surprised. But your people are peaceful. You don't fight wars. You are correct, Lyra replied, but we are not helpless. My people have abilities that might be useful in this battle. Please, let us contribute to our own rescue. Dr. Blake was amazed by the aliens' courage. She had expected the Zephyrians to be too frightened to do anything but hide. Instead, they wanted to fight alongside their human rescuers. What kind of abilities? Dr. Blake asked. We can sense thoughts and feelings, Lyra explained. We can also work with energy systems in ways that might surprise you. Our minds can connect with machines and computers. Dr. Blake immediately called Captain Morrison on the bridge. Captain, Commander Lyra says her people want to help defend the ship. They have some kind of telepathic abilities. Jake was skeptical but desperate. Bring her to the bridge. We need all the help we can get. When Lyra arrived on the bridge, the human crew was amazed by her presence. Even in the middle of a deadly battle, her beauty and grace were remarkable. Her skin now glowed with a bright silver light that seemed to give everyone hope. Captain Morrison, Lyra said, my people can sense where the enemy borders are located. We can feel their thoughts and intentions. This information might help your warriors fight more effectively. Jake realized this could be incredibly valuable. How many of your people can do this? All of us, Lyra replied. We are naturally telepathic. We can also enhance your ship's systems if you allow us to connect with them. Before Jake could ask what she meant, alarms began ringing throughout the ship. The Kraxans had successfully attached their boarding tubes and were cutting through the hull. They're coming through on decks 4, 6, and 8. Greg Turner reported from his position in the corridors. Heavy resistance expected. Lyra closed her eyes and seemed to concentrate deeply. After a moment, she opened them and spoke with confidence. There are 43 enemy boarders total. 12 on Deck 4, 15 on Deck 6, and 16 on Deck 8. Their leader is a large warrior with scars on his face. He carries an energy weapon and plans to capture me personally. The accuracy of her information amazed everyone on the bridge. Jake immediately used this intelligence to direct his Marines more effectively. Greg, focus your strongest team on Deck 6, Jake ordered. That's where most of the enemies are located. Meanwhile, other Zephyrian females had spread throughout the ship. In the engine room, Danny Walsh was struggling to keep the damaged. Power systems working when 3 aliens approached him. Chief Engineer Walsh, one of them said, "May we assist you? Our minds can communicate directly with your machines." Danny was doubtful, but willing to try anything. The power distribution system is failing. We need more energy for the shields and weapons. The 3 Zephyrian females placed their hands on different control panels. Their skin began to glow brightly, and suddenly all the engineering displays showed improved performance. "How did you do that?" Danny asked in amazement. "We can feel the energy flowing through your ship," one of the aliens explained. "We helped it flow more efficiently. Your machines are now working better than before." In the corridors, the fighting was fierce. The Kraxan boarders were indeed larger and stronger than humans. With thick skin, it was hard to hurt and powerful. Weapons. But they had never fought humans who knew exactly where they were and what they planned to do. Greg Turner used the telepathic information from the Zephyrians to set perfect ambushes. His Marines knew which corners the enemies would turn and which doors they would try to break through. The element of surprise made up for the difference in physical strength. "Behind you, Sergeant Miller," came Lyra's voice over the communication system as she watched the battle through her mental abilities. 2 enemies approaching from the left corridor. Sergeant Joe Miller spun around just in time to stop 2 Kraxan warriors from attacking his team. The fight was still dangerous, but having someone who could see the enemy's plans made all the difference. On the bridge, Lisa Grant noticed something incredible happening with the ship's systems. "Captain, our communication range has increased by 300%. I can now contact ships that are light years away. How is that possible?" Jake asked. Lyra smiled, and her skin changed to a happy golden color. "My sisters are enhancing your technology. We have learned to work with your machines in ways you never imagined." The tide of battle began to turn in favor of the humans. The Kraxan boarders, despite their physical advantages, found themselves constantly outmaneuvered and surprised. They had expected to fight frightened humans and helpless aliens. Instead, they faced a perfectly coordinated defense dot in the medical bay. Dr. Blake discovered another amazing ability of the Zephyrian females. When they touched injured Marines, the humans healed much faster than normal. Wounds that should have taken weeks to recover were healing in hours. "It's not magic," one of the aliens explained to the fascinated doctor. "We can encourage your body's natural healing processes. We cannot perform miracles, but we can help you recover more quickly." The battle reached its climax when the Kraxan commander himself led a final assault on the bridge. He was a massive warrior covered in scars, carrying weapons that could cut through thick metal. But Lyra had seen his approach in her mind long before he arrived. "He's coming up the main lift shaft," Lyra warned. "He has 4 other warriors with him, and he's carrying an explosive device. He plans to threaten to destroy the bridge unless you surrender." Jake and his bridge crew were ready when the lift doors opened. The Kraxan commander stepped out confidently, but found himself facing weapons pointed directly at him. "Surrender now," Jake commanded, "or we will destroy you where you stand." The alien commander looked around in shock. His surprise attack had been expected and countered. Behind him, he could hear the sounds of his boarding parties being defeated throughout the ship. For the first time in the battle, the massive Kraxen looked uncertain. His plans had failed completely, and his warriors were losing to creatures he had considered weak and inferior. "How did you know we were coming?" the commander demanded in his rough voice. Lyra stepped forward, her skin now glowing with confident silver light. "Because we are not the helpless victims you expected to find," she said calmly. "We are allies, working together to defeat those who would harm innocent people." The Kraxen commander realized he had made a terrible mistake. He had thought he was attacking a human ship carrying frightened alien prisoners. Instead, he had found humans and aliens fighting together as one united force. The Kraxen commander stood on the bridge of the UE Sentinel, surrounded by human weapons pointed at him. His 4 warrior companions had been quickly defeated and captured. For the first time in his long career of raiding and capturing slaves, Commander Vex looked afraid. "Your boarding operation has failed," Captain Jake Morrison told the alien criminal calmly. "Order your remaining ships to withdraw, and we will let you live." Vex's ugly face twisted with anger and hate. He was a massive creature, nearly 8 feet tall with thick gray skin covered in battle scars. His small red eyes burned with fury as he realized he had been completely outmatched. "You think you have won, human?" Vex growled in his rough voice. "My ships still surround you. We can destroy your vessel whenever we choose." Commander Lyra stepped forward, her skin glowing with confident silver light. "Your thoughts betray you, Vex. I can see your real plan. You intend to ram your command ship into ours rather than admit defeat." The Kraxen commander's eyes widened in shock. He had not expected the alien female to read his mind so easily. His secret plan had been discovered before he could even give the order. "You cannot escape," Vex snarled. "Even if you defeat me, more of my ships will come. The Kraxen Syndicate will never stop hunting these valuable females. We will find them eventually." Jake felt cold determination fill his heart. This criminal was threatening innocent people and promising to continue his evil work. The captain had heard enough threats and promises of violence. "Amy, what's the status of our weapon systems?" Jake asked his first officer. "All systems enhanced and working at maximum efficiency, thanks to our Zephyrian friends," Amy Rodriguez replied. "We're actually stronger now than when we started this battle." Jake nodded and looked directly at the Kraxen commander. "You're wrong about one thing, Vex. You won't be hunting anyone ever again." Before the alien criminal could respond, alarms began ringing throughout the ship. Lisa Grant looked up from her communication station with alarm. "Captain, the remaining Kraxen ships are moving into attack formation. They're preparing to fire everything they have at us." Through the main screen, everyone could see the 6 enemy vessels arranging themselves in a circle around the Sentinel. Their weapons were charging up, preparing to unleash enough firepower to destroy the human ship completely. "They're going to try to cripple us and then board again," Greg Turner reported from his security station. "My teams are ready, but we've taken casualties. We can't fight off another boarding party this large." Jake realized the situation was still very dangerous. They had won the battle inside the ship, but the enemy still had overwhelming numbers outside. The Kraxens were preparing for one final desperate attack that could destroy everyone aboard the Sentinel. "Captain Morrison," Lyra said softly, "I must tell you something important. My people have been working together while you fought the boarders. We have discovered something amazing about your ship." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "When we connected our minds with your machines, we learned that your vessel is much more powerful than you realize. The technology you call normal is actually quite advanced by galactic standards. You simply haven't learned to use it to its full potential." Danny Walsh looked up from his engineering station with excitement. Captain, she's right. The power output readings I'm seeing are incredible. The Zephyrians have somehow unlocked capabilities we never knew existed. Jake felt a spark of hope. Can we use this increased power to escape? Lyra's skin changed to a bright golden color that filled the bridge with warm light. We can do much more than escape, Captain. We can end this threat permanently. She closed her eyes and seemed to communicate silently with the other Zephyrian females throughout the ship. After a moment, she opened her eyes and smiled with quiet confidence. My sisters are ready. We have connected our abilities with your ship's systems. Your weapons, shields, and engines are now operating far beyond their normal limits. Kevin Hayes stared at his weapon controls in amazement. Captain, I'm seeing power levels I've never dreamed of. We could take on an entire fleet with this kind of firepower. Jake made his decision. The Kraxans had threatened innocent lives and promised to continue their criminal activities. They had shown no mercy and deserved none in return. All hands, prepare for final battle, Jake announced over the ship's communication system. Kevin, target the Kraxan command ship first. Amy, give me everything we have. The enhanced weapons of the Sentinel fired with incredible power. Bright blue energy beams, far more intense than anything the ship had ever produced before, struck the Kraxan vessels with devastating effect. The first enemy ship exploded immediately, its thick armor no match for the combined human and Zephyrian technology. Impossible, Commander Vex whispered as he watched his fleet being destroyed. Human ships are not that powerful. They are when humans and Zephyrians work together, Lyra replied with quiet pride. The space battle was over in minutes. The remaining Kraxan ships tried to escape, but the Sentinel's enhanced engines allowed it to catch them easily. One by one, the criminal vessels were destroyed or disabled. The threat to the Zephyrian females was eliminated forever. In the silence that followed, Jake looked around his bridge at the mixed crew of humans and aliens who had fought together. The Zephyrian female skin now glowed with warm golden light that seemed to fill the entire ship with hope and happiness. Commander Lyra, Jake said, what will your people do now? Your transport ship was destroyed. Lyra smiled, and her beautiful voice carried a note of joy. Captain Morrison, our original mission was to establish a research station to study cooperation between different species. After what we have experienced here, we believe we have found the perfect partners for that research. Dr. Susan Blake approached the group with excitement in her voice. Captain, the medical advances we could achieve by combining human and Zephyrian knowledge would be incredible. We could help people throughout the galaxy. Danny Walsh nodded enthusiastically. And the engineering applications are amazing. We could build ships and machines that are far more advanced than anything that exists now. Jake realized that something much more important than a rescue mission had taken place. The humans and Zephyrians had discovered that their different abilities worked perfectly together. Human determination and courage, combined with Zephyrian telepathy and energy manipulation, created something greater than either species could achieve alone. Commander Lyra, Jake said formally, on behalf of the United Earth Space Force, I would like to invite you and your people to return with us to human space. We have much to learn from each other. Lyra's skin changed to the brightest golden color anyone had ever seen. We accept your invitation with great joy, Captain Morrison. This rescue has become the beginning of a new alliance between our peoples. As the UES Sentinel began its journey back to Earth, carrying its precious cargo of new friends and allies, Jake stood on the bridge looking out at the stars. The 17 young Zephyrian females who had started this adventure as frightened refugees were now excited ambassadors, eager to share their knowledge and learn about human culture. The Kraxan threat was over, but more importantly, two species had discovered that cooperation and friendship were more powerful than any weapon. The rescue mission had become something much greater, the foundation of an alliance that would benefit both races for generations to come. Years later, when other species asked why humans had risked everything to save strangers they had never met, the answer was always the same. Captain Jake Morrison would smile and say, "Because it was the right thing to do." And sometimes, doing the right thing leads to something wonderful. The battle was won, but the real victory was the friendship that had been born in the darkness of space.